Hello, this is Neil from MyPaintGirls.com. And if you've already looked at the first part, which goes into the very basics of how to hold the pencil, how to use it, and how to get smooth lines and everything, then you're ready to move on to this next part, which is how to achieve different, weight to your drawing, value to your drawing. Really, you can do an entire drawing with just lines itself, no shading at all. These are the different basic types of lines you can do. I'm sure there's more. I'm going to go through each one briefly. And then this here was done with just pure lines, absolutely no shading work at all. I did this like in 5 minutes tops. I just did it very quickly, just utilizing the different line work. So knowing these line work, you can really achieve just about any texture you want. And really this is more about texture, but you can achieve value in the drawing as well. As I said, this was done just with just pure line work, no shading at all. And so you can do that and you'll create really nice textures in your drawing. So the first one up here is what we're going to go through. I'm going to get a piece of paper and we'll go through each one of these. And I'll show you how to do them really quick. They're really easy to master each one of these and then to start using them. So the first one is going from left to right, or right to left if you're left-handed, or if you just want to go right to left for some reason, you can. And this is like, you can use different parts of the pencil to get this. I'm going to go ahead and sharpen this really quick on the sandpaper so I have a flat edge. You can either use like kind of the edge of it, which I like to do for this, and it's just going left and right horizontally, and you're just kind of jagging the edge up and down a little bit as you go, like that. That's all there is to it. And you can either go from having more of a dark line to lighter line, or you can vary the pressure, light, dark, and go almost like a harpy pattern or something. And this is good, like you could use different things like separating shingles from a roof and stuff like that. Right, the next one is just basically horizontal lines being put together. And you can have some of them lighter, some of them, you can have even some of them be thicker and darker, and then the ones be lighter, and you can just randomly vary that pressure. And you can slightly angle them too if you want towards each other. And then you can, put them more close together and thicker like this. Maybe add some thicker, darker ones in there, and so forth. That's another way to build different kinds of texture. And it's almost like shading actually, but just with line work. The other is just a horizontal line where you just add little jagginess to it. That's a thin one. You can also do thick ones by using a different part of the pencil. And let's say I want to get a really thick one. So I'm going to use this part of the pencil here, like so. Right, the next one is pretty much the same, except it is bigger contour lines. And so this is like what you can actually use for, then I'm going to use the thick part of the pencil. This is what you can do for contour lines, like you're following the shape of the object and you're putting these lines together, like this, and then they get lighter as they come out or something like that. And that would be to define the shape of whatever object it is you're trying to find. And you can add some extra ones in there to add some texture variation. And it almost starts to look like a tree kind of, right? Okay, so the next one is kind of the same as up here. It's pretty much the same, except you're just kind of, less so. It's like more like that. I should have done it more like that. But anyway, it's pretty much the same as that, just slightly varying how you do the pencil. The next one, I'm going to make a little bit bigger, is to you draw one dark, thick line, let's say, and then you can get lighter, thinner ones. That should have been lighter, and then lighter and lighter and lighter as it comes off. And so this is, good for doing branches and stuff. And you can get different kind of techniques with that. You can use it for grass, branches and trees and stuff like that. The next one is probably ideal for grass though, and it's kind of short angled strokes, and some you want to angle them slightly different, and you can even make them come over each other. Not only are you angling them, they're slight angled strokes, but you're varying the pressure as well. So, oops, I don't even know if that's in camera. Sorry about that. Anyway, I think I didn't have those in camera. I'll redo these. You just do like a dark stroke and then a lighter, lighter, lighter as you're coming off. So these here, it's just varying the angles, and if I kept all the same weight, it's less interesting, right? But if I have some that are thicker and darker, and then some that are lighter, I can even make some that are long and light, and I can make some that are thicker and darker. I can make some that are darker but are shorter, some that are long but thin. And adding this kind of variation, and have them crossing each other at different angles, like that. So that's a good technique for grass. The next one is almost the same, except you do long strokes. And you can add, some short, some long. You can mix these two together as well. Oops, I meant to kind of angle that one. And then you can also kind of come out like this. Let's say you have some that are here, then have a few over here, and then get lighter on this side. That can be like a bush or something. The next is just straight lines. Again, like up here, except you want to vary them more in pressure and angle. Make sure this is in. So, you kind of have more randomness to it. Like so. That adds a unique kind of texture. The next is exactly the same, except it's tiny little lines. So what you want to do is, let's say you wanted to kind of have an object like this that was like shaded from this side. You would have all the little lines on this side would be dark and close together, and they're just tiny little strokes, and you're just overlapping little random lines. And as you get farther out, the lines will get further apart and lighter. So just draw each line lighter. Might even change to a 2B pencil. I'm working with 6B right now. That can add a nice texture for like stone and stuff like that. Alright, next is really good for tree bark and a lot of other stuff too. You do like a jagged line, so you don't let your pencil off the paper. You kind of go up and down, and then you make the shape you want, and you can get lighter on one side, darker on the other. And so let's say I wanted a kind of a circle part, lighter like that, and then I want to go around this. And I'm going to get lighter as I go to this side. You can also angle, you can do it this way as you're doing whatever texture you want, or you can go at an angle like I was doing at first and get some kind of shape, or you can even go this way and you get different textures that way. So that's a neat technique. Next is very similar to this here, except you don't let your pencil off the paper when you're doing a line. So you go dark, light, like this. Light, dark, light, so you vary the pressure. Like so, and that can be, get an interesting effect. But having that variation in pressure is really important in drawing. Right, the next is, I'm going to kind of put this down here now and this up here. So it's like little dash, it's like this one here. It's dash lines. And it's basically you just vary the pressure. Let me go ahead and get this on. Actually, I'm just going to put this over here for right now. Make sure I'm on camera. Alright. So you would either start light, like light lines, and then get longer and darker. Light lines, get longer and darker. Light lines, longer and darker. Or you can go opposite way, up this way. So and I'm using thick lines now, but notice they're getting longer and darker as they go up, and that could be used to great effect as well. Then you have your just straight, it's very similar to, again, what we were doing before here and here, but more like this here. It's going straight up and down with vertical lines, but now you're really varying the pressure and length. Right, so if you can put them really close together, and you actually get kind of a shaded effect. Voila. Okay. The next is having loose lines that kind of flow closer together. You'd have darker, either thicker lines on one side, and then as you get over here, they can be thinner, like that. That could be used for hair and certain types of trees and stuff like that. Next is angled lines. You can vary the weight and pressure of them. Right, so very similar to that, it's just angled, and then you can angle them together with cross hatching even to add different kinds of texture. Finally, there's these curved lines. So it's just little curved lines, and this is good for bushes and stuff. You can kind of overlap them where you want to, and then you can kind of get further apart like this, and then you can already kind of see a pattern there, almost like a tree. And you can kind of put them together like this, make the edge of a tree. So it's little angles. You can also get bigger angles And you can even get really big angles, you know, for like, let's say something more like a cloud or something. Right, so using these different techniques with your pencil control, doing line work, you can actually put all it together, you know, and make something like this, which I just did very quickly. So with hair, let's say you wanted to do like a strand of hair on a head. Right, so let's say you have like the beginning start of a head here, jaws down here, and then the eyes would go somewhere in here, and nose and mouth would be somewhere in there. Anyway, so I'm not really paying attention. This isn't meant to be pretty. I don't want to spend any time on that part. But the hair part, let's say I have like a strand of hair coming here. I can use that, you know, angle technique, where I kind of like the bush technique, where you kind of come like this if it's more curly hair, let's say. But let's say I have this strand in here, looks kind of like this. Now I can use that strand technique where I have thicker, darker strands over here, or just, you know, darker strands over here. Let's say like that, and then I can have thinner strands, lighter strands over here. And that's, I don't know if that's showing up so well on the thing, so I'm going to do a bigger lock here. So let's say I have the big lock of hair here, and I want this side to be, you know, the darker strokes, and then this side over here will have a few light strokes. I could even change to a different pencil for those, like that. And just kind of adding little strokes here and there. This is all line work, so no shading at all. And you know, obviously that doesn't look good because it's not in the shape of the hair. I'm just showing the technique. So let's say I'm going to do it again, but this time I'm going to have a couple really thick dark lines on this side of the lock, and then as I come over here, they're going to get lighter and thinner, like so. Have some coming all the way through and some not coming all the way through, like that. And that's how you can add, you know, maybe add another thick line over here to add more, like that. So now you have sort of depth there where it goes from light, you know, to dark like that. Let me try one more strand just to really, I really want to, you know, show that. And notice the line weight there, how I did that, how this side is all kind of, it went light, dark, and then like, see how it fade off there, then dark, and then light like that. And I'm going to try to do that same thing with some of these lines here. I'm going to kind of come up and fade those. Alright, so that's the dark side. And over here, I'm just going to do light lines because this is the light side where the light's hitting the hair. Maybe add just a few random dark ones in there for variation. So that technique can really be used. It's similar to the contour line as well. And so when you're using contour lines, let's say you had like a shoulder here, and then you had the bicep as it's coming down. Okay, so let's say I have this shoulder now, and it comes in here. I have the tricep, I have this kind of muscle here. I forgot what that's called, brachialis or some crap. Elbow over there somewhere. And the bicep is coming off like this, let's say. So let's say the light is coming like this, sort of like from that kind of up and from that direction. So I want all this, I can use contour lines here, where I'm just, you know, smoothing the contour lines on this side, and I'm just kind of following the shape of the muscles themselves. And I'm going to kind of come with thinner, lighter line, not thinner, but lighter lines on that side, thicker, darker lines on this side. Now this wouldn't be that good of a technique, obviously, for skin, but you can see how just utilizing the line work, you know, you can add darker and lighter lines. You can, you know, following the contour of the shape, you can start to almost look like shading, even though you haven't shaded, just pure line work. Again, I wouldn't really recommend doing that for skin texture, but it can be used for other things. Alright, so now let's go ahead and start putting some of these techniques together then, these different line techniques together, and a little drawing perhaps. And let's see, I'm trying to think where's my eraser at? I guess I don't really need my eraser. And I'm not really sure, I don't know, should we do like a scene or should we just, I don't know really what to do, but let's say we're going to move this, I don't know how much I can fit on here. Couldn't find my eraser. Oh, you know what, I think it's in my backpack. I went camping and I think I took it with me. Anyway, I'm going to sharpen this. I guess I won't need my eraser, whatever. Let's say we're going to do like a boat here, right? So we'd have like boat kind of in perspective. And let's say you're even looking at a photograph. You want to simplify that photograph, and maybe I should do an entire separate thing on that where I show you a photograph and then we just kind of do a quick drawing from that photograph. And so right now I'm just using really light lines just to kind of, you know, bring in the shape of that boat in there. And for grass, I'm just going to kind of pull little lines, some dark, some light, different lengths, and kind of cross them together. And have some dark ones out there and some light ones. That's all that on camera, yeah. I want to bring some of these in front now before I even begin drawing the boat. I want to, every now and then I want like a really dark one, and then I just kind of want to bring some smaller light ones around it. And this is to add, you know, different, not focal points, different texture or depth or something. I don't really know what to call it. But adding that just really makes a difference. Rather than all, you don't want all your lines to be the same. You want them to be different. I'm going to add some lighter grass back there. And of course there might be something way in the background back here. Like this will be the horizon line, let's say. And you can have like, you know, trees and part of a mountain and something there. And maybe there's a house back here or something, or a barn, or I don't know, a boat, another ship in the water, or whatever. I don't know, you know, whatever the picture landscape happens to be. You can have some other grass back there, but it's going to be more, I'm using the thicker side of my pencil right now to do this. So I'm doing the horizontal lines that kind of crisscrossing each other, and they're really light. Now I'm doing a jagged line where I'm not lifting my pencil off the paper, just kind of jagging it across like that. And I'll probably do a few more of that over there. Just add some texture and stuff. I don't want too much attention back there with the focal point. It's going to be this boat. We're going to probably be able to see, no, not probably, we're going to be able to see some of the inside of the boat, obviously, like this. And I don't know if the boat has like a front piece here. Now I'm going to just straight do lines like that. I'll do some thick lines here. I want to show inside of this boat, and I can give it texture. I'm just thinking about what kind of texture it would have. Let's kind of change the shape of the boat like that. So now I'm going to start texturing the boat by putting lines down here. Got to decide what side the light's coming from, which is going to be like over here, typical like sun setting. And then I'm going to have some highlight part there where the light's hitting the top part of that boat there. And I'm going to need a lot of dark lines over here. I'm going to pull kind of cross hatch here, add some texture. Some cross hatching lines. I'm going to come this way first, diagonal lines this way. And I'm going to come diagonal lines this way. And this is the line work I'm going to continue on with the boat over here. I'm going to do that one technique where you kind of go up and down, like a heartbeat motion almost, like a heartbeat sensor. So you're moving in one direction, but you're kind of veering your pencil up and down. To add variation, I'm going to do another line like that here. I want some darkness here, so I'm going to pull some lines down. Angle some lines up like that. Angle some lines. I want a few lines in there just to add a little bit of texture. Make that line stronger, add some little lines like that. I'm just kind of breaking up this straight line by adding some, a little bit, just waving my hand up and down just a little bit to add some texture to the line work there. All this side here is going to be, I'm really just focusing on like what are the main shapes. I'm going up and down lines here, really light lines. And I'm going to get lighter as I come over here. And I'm thinking going to pull some lines like that and come over that way. Add some line work there. Maybe there's some, objects within the boat, and I can just kind of hint at them with shadow. Like, I don't know, the shapes of them and stuff. And then you'll have, wood plankings, and I'm just going to kind of hint at their shapes by kind of pulling different line works like this. Really thick lines, and then leaving some of it, and then I'm going to just kind of pull some thinner lines, just to add a little bit more detail in there. Right, and then you're going to have shadow, right, where the boat hits, and it's going to be kind of probably shaped kind of like this. And so to get that, I'm just going to add a bunch of grass. And where this grass is, it's going to be a lot more dark. Right, so I'm going to really bring out the shadow by just doing line work here with the grass. I'm using a thick side of my pencil for this grass, since it's in the shadow. I don't want it to have a whole lot of detail and texture. Now I'm starting at the edge toward the boat more and working my way out toward me. So I'm working out that way. And as I'm going to go toward the edge of the shadow, I'm going to actually start pulling my pencil toward its thinner part, towards its harder part here. And I'm going to start making the grass further apart from each other and really thin lines. Varying the pressure of the pencil as I get out here to add different weight. I want some of them to be dark, some of them to be light. Almost kind of random. I know that arrow kind of ruins the drawing a little bit, but it's not really a real drawing. It's just a really quick demonstration. So, right, so you can start to see with just line work, you add all this value in there. So when you're doing your line work, you're deciding what technique should I use out of all these different ways I can draw lines. What technique should I use to accomplish the end result? And you can actually just try practicing doing entire drawings with just line work, and it works best for like scenery type work. And then you can get into adding some shading in with your line work as well for value. So right now I'm just kind of going this jagged up and down line, and I'm using this to define this jagged up and down line to kind of define a mountain top with trees. And then I'm going to just kind of maybe put a couple of dark lines in there, like angled lines, going to make the tree back there. And I'm just going to kind of have it fade like that. I would have just a bunch of jagged lines, different angles, slightly different pressure for them. And again, just different lines up here, different lines like this. And this is all just to kind of hint at tree work, to kind of give the illusion that there's trees back there. All that's coming on the paper, that's good. Might even add like a weird jaggy line like this, and that might be a tree. I kind of want these to come down thinner lines. And I might have some other line work coming up here. This is something more in the foreground. And then you can have really thin, not thin, thick, but light lines in the back here. And these can be, either another tree with mountains, but going more towards the back. And then you can kind of just pull that in with some line work. I'm going to pull some diagonal lines all the way across here, thick ones, just to add, more texture to all that there. And I might even cross hatch that, so come back the other way. Cross hatching is actually technically a type of shading, so you could actually consider that we just now shaded something. rather than, but we just use line to do it though. But it is a shading technique. And now I'm just, adding like different parts with lines where the trees might be darker and where there's more trees, and then there's like I might add some little lines like this to add texture, and that just kind of shows like maybe where there's dirt and rocks. Maybe add some line work like this. Add some lines, and this is just again just to kind of hint at maybe there's some rock texture in there as well as trees and bushes and stuff. From this far away, you don't really need much detail, because you're just trying to trick the eye that they're to say, hey, to suggest there's something back there that looks kind of like a mountain. You're not like trying to draw all the detail of the mountain, especially because like in a good photograph, right? Cinematography, what's the main thing you want to achieve? What makes a movie look like a movie and a digital camera look like a digital camera? The main difference is depth of field. So you want to kind of, artistically, we like depth of field. If I film a movie with a digital camera without depth of field, it's going to look weird because everything in the background is going to be just as sharp as everything in the foreground. Not blurry at all, but with the movie camera, it has depth of field, so when it zoomed in on something in the foreground like this boat here, everything in the background is going to be a whole lot blurry, and as it gets further back, it gets more and more blurry, and so there's not much detail there. And you can mimic that artistic thing that we like in movies and paintings and drawings by just hinting at stuff in the background, by not putting too much detail into it. I'm going to add a whole lot more dark in here, a lot of different varying lines. I'm using the technique where I'm doing the back, doing the random lines, like this here. So, random diagonal lines, and just kind of putting them together to form some sort of texture in there. I want to add a few out here, even though they're broken and on the top, they still kind of look like part of the tree work out there. Kind of makes it look more like it's windy or something, which is kind of neat. Right, like that. So these are really light lines, thick light lines, and just kind of adding a little bit of variation to that though, so it's not so boring. So just adding a few darker lines within that. Maybe more towards the base of the darker lines. It's kind of breaking up, leaving some white space in there. Right, like that. So then on this side, I don't know what would be on that side over there. You might want to break it off by having another either mountain or something here in the background to offset that shape. That way, I don't know, this probably has a better shape. Or you can just let it all kind of fade out like this over here. That'd probably be fine. Just a little bit of detail and stuff. You can maybe even have it kind of trail off. Have a fence kind of trailing around like this even, and that might add a neat overall just kind of S shape to it. Or just have the grass kind of add some darker grass here, and I'll kind of add some little ones, and have the grass kind of fade off over here like that, and then have some back trees and stuff back here somewhere. You can even hint at trees by just having those little curved lines, and there's like a little tree right there with a couple little things, and then I can have a bush right here back there. Now I'm getting closer, so I'm adding a little bit more detail to this stuff over here, and maybe just have another bush right here. Again, all line work. A couple little dots to add some texture, little grasses coming off like this. And I'm trying to bring it around over here, and then I don't know. There should be some shape back there. I don't know what it would be though, but add some little grasses and stuff. Alright, so it's starting to shape up, and you can start to see something happening there, even though it's just all line work. And I'm thinking maybe a building back here, some sort of like a barn or something would be kind of cool. But I don't feel like drawing it, so a windmill maybe. So back there, like a little windmill and stuff. Be kind of cool. barn windmill type deal back there, but I don't feel like drawing it right now, so because I'm like not running out of time. I don't think I have a time limit anymore. I can make my videos as long as I want, I think, but I don't want to make them too long. So, right, there you go. So just all line work, like I said. Just kind of adding little things here and there. I'm gonna go ahead and I think call that done for this tutorial. So that's how to use different lines to achieve value and stuff in a picture, and how to get texture and stuff into a picture. So practice that when drawing anything, and drawing hair and stuff like that. With skin though, you really want to use shading techniques. I mean, you can try these different techniques for skin too, and you'll have an interesting textured effect for the end drawing. But I'm going to go into actual more shading techniques, I think, in another video if you guys want, where it's just pure shading techniques, how to get really soft shading and different kinds of rough shading and stuff like that. Alright, so thank you for watching. Please go ahead and comment on the video, because the more comments I get, the more views I get, which means the more people that we help. We all help them together. By you commenting, you're actually helping other people find this video, because believe it or not, commenting increases your chances of it being seen on YouTube. So take the time, please, leave a comment and click on the thumbs up button. It only takes a second. And by you doing that, you're also helping other people be exposed to drawing techniques. And maybe it'll help them become better drawers as well. Thank you for your participation.